Hi all, this is the video for 57. So today we're going to be adding, subtracting, and multiplying radicals. So we did a little bit of a stand and talk earlier today, and we'll jump right in after that. So we're going to be looking at our notes for 57. So you're turning to page 6, and we're going to knock it out. So our goal today is that we would be able to add, subtract, and multiply these things. So the main idea for adding and subtracting is that we're going to combine like terms, right? So we saw that just like we would add 2x plus 3x, that'd give us 5x. We can do the same for 2x to the third plus 3x to the third, would be 5. Square root of 3. Sorry, let me rewind that. 2x plus 3x would be 5x, and this is 2 square root 3 plus 3 square root 3 would be 5 square root 3. So the first thing that we have to do is simplify. So we're building off of yesterday's skill. So for this case, we would have here, we'd have maybe 9 and 5, and this would be 3 and 3. I see that this is a square root, so I need sets of 2. So I'm going to take this one to the outside to meet up with that 2. So I have 2 times 3. And the square root of 5 is still inside because it doesn't have any friends. So that 5 is still staying. So 2 times 3 is 6. Square root 5. I'm going to bring down this straight here. Minus 2 square root 5. Now I see that they are like terms because I see the square root of 5 and the square root of 5. So 6 minus 2 would be 4 square root 5. That would be my first example. So we have to find the ones that are like terms. So we know that they're like terms if they have the same index and the same radicand. Remember that their radicand is what's inside, and the index is this little baby number, right? And then if we have common radicals, we are going to combine like terms. So first, again, I'm going to simplify all my radicals. So 12 becomes 2 and 6. 6 is 2 and 3. This set of 2's is going to meet that negative 3. I'm going to have negative 3 times 2. And then the square root of 3 is staying inside the parentheses there. This one's already in the square root of 3, so I'm just going to do 3 square root 3 there. And then 20 would be 4 and 5, which is 2 and 2. And this 2 is going to meet up with that 3. And I get 3 times 2, square root 5. So I'm going to simplify this. Negative 6, square root 3, plus 3, square root 3, plus 6, square root 3. I'm sorry, square root 5. So if I'm looking at this here, I can see that I have square root 3 here and square root 3 here, but then I have something different, square root 5 there. So I know that I can combine these ones. Negative 6 plus 3 would be negative 3 square root 3. And I keep the square root of 3 the same. And then I'm just going to bring down my 6 square root 5. So if I'm looking at this, I see this part, these two are able to combine, right? But this one just has to come straight down. I can't combine them anymore because they are not like terms. So I'm going to box it, call my answer. Right. Let's look at this one here. So this one, I see an index of 4. So I'm going to be looking for groups of 4, just like we practiced. So 48 is 2 and 24, 2 and 12, 2 and 6, 2 and 3. So I see this is a group of 4 here. So I'm going to have 2, and I have the 4th root of 3 left over, because that 3 is left over there. And then I'm going to bring this straight down, minus 2, 4th root of 3. And then I'm going to try 72. I get 2 and 36, 2 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 3. And I'm looking for cube roots, it says here. So I'm going to take that 2 out. Sets of 3 there. So I would have plus 2 square root of, and I'm looking for groups of 3 and I only see that there's 2 of these, so 3 times 3 gives me back the 9 that's here. I want to make sure that I put the little 3 in there, even if I have to get really close here to make it worth it. Alright, so I have these problems here. I see that this 4th root of 3 and 4th root of 3 are similar, right? They are like terms. And then cube root of 9 is different. Right? So I can't combine that, so I'm going to bring that straight down to cube root 9, comes straight down here. And then I can combine these. 2 and minus 2 would be 0. These are going to cancel out and create 0. So my answer just becomes this here. I don't really need that plus sign anymore, so I'll go ahead and erase that there. And that's my answer. Right. So that is adding and subtracting. We just combine like terms and then move on from there. Multiplying is pretty simple as well. So with multiplying, what we do is we multiply outsides with outsides. Multiply outsides with outsides. And insides with insides. All right. So we can use the product rule. And the product rule says that if we have the same index, then we can just put A times B on the inside. We want to make sure that we simplify for sure. So if I have this here, I know that 27 times 5, inside with inside, so the inside number times an inside number. 27 times 5, you can do this on your calculator. I don't have mine out, so that's 135. Right, so 135. So I multiplied them together. That's awesome. My next step is to simplify. So 135, of course, is 27 and 5. 27 is 3 and 9. This is 3 and 3. I'm looking for groups of 2 because I have that imaginary 2 there. So I see one group of 2 right here. That's a 3 on the outside. And then I have a 3 and a 5. 3 and 5 make 15, but don't have any pairs. So this would be my final answer. If I type this in my calculator and this in my calculator, I should get the same number, the same decimal, because those are equivalent. All right. If we look at this one here, we're doing cube roots this time. So 9 is 3 and 3, but there's not 3 of anything there. And we see that 24 is 2 and 12, 2 and 6, 2 and 3. Right? So here I have a group of 3 there. So that's going to multiply times the 5. So I have times 5 times 2. Remember, it looks like they're leaving the 3 inside. So I'd have negative 3 inside like that. And I have 2 cube root 9. I'm going to do the ones that are outside, outsides with outsides. So 2 times 5 times 2. 2 times 5 is 10, times 2 is 20. Okay. And then I'm going to do my insides as well. So I have the cube root of 9 times negative 3, which would be negative 27, like that. From there, I just need to simplify. So I know that this negative can come to the outside because it's a cube root. So I'd have negative 20. And then 27 breaks into 3 and 9, 3 and 3. I'm looking for groups of 3. So here is my group of 3, which is also going to multiply times the 20. So I have negative from here, 20 times 3. And then I use everything, so I don't actually have to write this anymore. So it would just be 20 times 3, which is negative 60. That's my answer. Can be pretty complicated, but simplifying first will sometimes help you cut down on time. All right, last one's here. So first step, I'm going to multiply the coefficients. So I'm going to do outsides with, there's no outside here, so it's just -3. I have the same radical, and then I'm going to do 64 times 8. So 64 times 8, let's see, that's 32, 48, 51, 512. 512. Sweet. So I already know, obviously, that this is 64 and 8. I would make this 8 and 8. 2 and 4, 2 and 2. 2 and 4, 2 and 2. And then 2 and 4, 2 and 2. So if I'm looking for the ends here, I've got all my 2's. And I'm looking for groups of 4. So I'm going to say, okay, here is a group of 4. That counts as one group of 4. It's going out here. This is another group of 4. It's going out here. And then I want to be very careful not to lose this guy, because that 2 has to stay inside. So I'm going to make a note of that as well. So I had a -3 times one squad of 2's and another squad of 2's. And then I have my 4th root of that one that's left over, 2. So I have -3 times 2 is -6, times 2 is -12, cube root of 2. That is my answer for number 6. So multiplying, we multiply outsides with outsides, insides with insides.